Introducing the short drink. In this lesson, we'll be introducing you to one of the most sophisticated types of drinks that you'll find at a bar. In particular, we're going to be looking at what a short drink is, taking a short drink order, and preparing and serving a short drink. Firstly, let's discuss what a short drink is. Short drinks get their name from the fact that they are served in short glasses, usually the whiskey tumbler. Along with this, short drinks consist of either 1 or 2 tots of a spirit on their own in the short glass. These spirits often include whiskey, cognac, armagnac, aged rum, and aged tequila. Guests then have the option of adding either water or ice to their spirit of choice. In some cases, though, guests may even add a mixer to the spirit in the short glass. However, it is more common for guests to add water or ice, and mixers won't usually be added to rare or expensive spirits. Because short drinks come in short glasses, there is less space to add either a mixer or water to the spirit. This is not the case with a long drink, which has lots of space for adding the mixer in a long glass. This means that the flavors from the spirit in a short drink will be much stronger than the flavors of the spirit in a long drink, and that the ratio of spirit to mixer in a short glass is higher than the ratio of spirit to mixer in a long glass. It's time to move on to taking a short drink order. Even though it may seem that short drinks are very simple, we need to be very careful when taking orders for short drinks, because guests all have very particular ways that they like to enjoy their drinks. When taking the orders for short drinks, there are 4 pieces of information that we need to listen for. If at any point we don't hear one of these pieces of information, we can ask the guest. Number 1. Find out or listen for which brand or make of the spirit the guest would like. This requires you to know the individual names on all of your spirit labels. By doing this, you will know whether you have the spirit that the guest is asking for, and be able to make similar recommendations if you don't have what they want. Number 2. Ask the guest or listen for the age of that spirit that they would like. The age is very important, as it not only influences the flavor and texture of the spirit, but it also influences the price, with older spirits generally being more expensive. Number 3. Ask the guest or listen for how many measures of the spirit they want. Usually they will either want a single, which is 1 measure, or a double, which is 2 measures. And number 4. Find out or listen for how they would like their spirit served. This is where you need to really concentrate, as guests will tell you whether they want their spirit with or without ice, and whether they want it with or without water. Some may even want both ice and water. Finally, let's finish with preparing and serving a short drink. Once you have taken the guest's short drink order, it's time to prepare it for them before serving them or sending it out with a waiter. Follow these steps when preparing a short drink. Step 1. Fill the short glass with what the guests ordered. For example, 2 measures of Smoky Mountain whiskey. Step 2. If the guest wants their short drink with ice and water, it is a rule that we always place these separately with the drink, unless specified by the guest. For example, Mr. Jones may order his whiskey with 2 blocks of ice. If he does this, you can place the 2 blocks of ice in his whiskey for him. However, if he just asks for ice, it must be placed in a small ice bucket, glass or bowl with ice tongs, which he can use himself. If he orders water with his whiskey, it needs to be in a carafe or small jug. The reason that we always offer the ice and water separately is so that the guests can add them themselves, because they know exactly how they like it. And lastly, step 3. When you've either set up your tray or placed everything in front of your guest, you can present it to your guest or waiter by stating the order back to them. For example, Mr. Jones, a double Smoky Mountain whiskey with 2 ice blocks and water on the side. We do this to make sure that we have got their order correct. Well done on learning the basics of taking a short drinks order. Serving brandy. Earlier in the course, we took a good look at brandy in order for you to understand it when working behind the bar. Just like all spirits have varying flavors, production methods and histories, they also have different ways of being served. In this section, we're going to be taking a look at how to serve each of the different spirits by starting with brandy. In particular, we'll be covering serving etiquette, taking a brandy order, and presenting brandy to your guest. Let's begin with serving etiquette. In this section, we will be taking a look at a few of the basic rules which always need to be followed when serving brandy as a digestif. Glassware. Brandy is always to be served in a brandy balloon. This is because the brandy balloon is specially designed to channel the incredible aromas into the guest's nose when they are smelling it. The shape of the glass also allows the guest's hand to warm up the liquid perfectly. Temperature. Brandy is always to be served at room temperature. Remember that even though many people believe that the brandy balloon must be heated up before pouring the brandy into it, this must never be done. Guest preferences. Brandy is not meant to be served with ice or water, but some guests may request it with ice and water. If this is the case, after you have provided the guest with their brandy, provide a small ice bucket with ice tongs, along with a carafe of water or small glass of water. These are included alongside the brandy, so that the guest can add them to taste. Even though brandies are traditionally an elegant and sophisticated digestif, guests will often enjoy them as an aperitif with a mixer. Popular examples include brandy and coke or brandy and soda water. Golden rule. A golden rule of serving brandy is that a garnish must never, ever be added to it, even if it is being enjoyed as an aperitif with a mixer. The only time you may garnish brandy with anything is if it is a cocktail. Now let's take a look at taking a brandy order. While we have already taken a look at how to take an order for a short drink involving a spirit, it will still be useful to take those steps and apply them to brandy, so that you're able to see the different possibilities that are likely to come up. Step 1. Once the guest has made it clear that they would like a digestif or brandy, ask them whether they would like a brandy, cognac or armagnac. Step 2. Ask which brand the guest would like. For example, is there any specific brand of brandy that you would like, Mr. Johnson? Step 3. Ask for the age of the brandy they would like. To be more specific, make sure to ask the guest whether they would like the VS, VSOP, or XO if you stock those ages. This is very important because if you were to pour the wrong age of brandy, it could end up being a very expensive mistake. Step 4. Ask the guest whether they have any preferences for how they like their brandy served. Here they will mention whether they want it in a different glass, with ice, with water, or with a mixer. And step 5. If your bar stocks cigars, make sure to recommend a cigar to those guests who are ordering a brandy. The two work wonderfully together and will make your guests' experience that much more enriching. Lastly, let's discuss presenting brandy. Now that your guest has ordered, it is very important to serve the brandy correctly because it is a luxury that needs to be served perfectly. Present the balloon with the spirit along with any items the guest required, such as ice, water, or a cigar. Make sure you repeat the brand and age of the spirit to your guest, so that there are no surprises when the bill arrives. Well done on finishing this lesson, and enjoy serving brandy to your guests. Serving gin. In this lesson, we're going to be going through all the essential details that you need to be aware of when serving gin. The amazing thing about gin is that it is a drink that can be used in a number of different ways, the most popular being in cocktails and long drinks. Without a doubt, the most famous gin cocktail is the gin martini, while the gin and tonic is a long drink loved all over the world. Gin is made with many botanicals, so it is important to serve it to your guests properly so that they experience all the flavors and aromas. In this lesson, we will be going over service etiquette, taking the order, and presenting gin. Let's kick off the lesson with service etiquette. Let's go through some of the service etiquette that you need to be aware of when serving gin. Glassware. Gin is never really enjoyed by guests without it either being in a cocktail or mixed with a mixer. Because of this, gin doesn't have its own glass like brandy, but will rather be enjoyed in a highball glass if it is enjoyed in a long drink, or a coupe glass if it is in a cocktail. Even though these are the most common ways to enjoy gin, some guests may ask for their gin and mixer in a short glass. This is so that they can have less mixer in the glass, allowing the strong, pungent flavors of the gin to be more prominent. Make sure to listen carefully for this when your guests are ordering their gin from you. Temperature. While the gin itself is never stored in a fridge, it is usually served in coupe and highball glasses that are very cold and is more than likely to be served with ice. Garnishes. When it comes to serving garnishes in long drinks that have gin as the main ingredient, the most popular garnishes are cucumber, lemon, and lime. Now let's look at taking the order. When taking an order for gin, you will need to listen for extra details when your guests are ordering it with a mixer. Let's take a look at how to take an order with gin. Step 1. Ask the guest which brand of gin they would like with their mixer. While guests may not have any particular preferences when it comes to brands of gin, it is always very professional to give them a choice of brands by letting them know which brands are available. Step 2. Ask whether they would like a single or double measure of gin. Lastly, let's focus on presenting gin. When it comes to presenting the gin with a mixer, there are a few important steps that need to be followed. Place the gin in the correct glass for the drink. Fill the glass with ice. Remember that the mixer must never be added before it is served to your guest. It is not poured beforehand for 3 reasons. Firstly, the carbon dioxide in the tonic carries aromas, so when the tonic hits the gin, the botanicals are released for the guest's pleasure. Secondly, the mixer will lose effervescence over time, so the guest should pour it themselves for optimal fizz. And lastly, your guest might only want the glass half filled with mixer, and filling the glass will over-dilute the gin. Once the drink has been presented to the guest, offer to pour the mixer for them. Remember that although decanting the mixer into a carafe or jug looks beautiful, it will destroy some of the bubbles of the mixer. Well done on finishing this lesson, and enjoy putting all that you have learnt into practice.